Hi everyone, welcome back to the Two Friends and podcast. So this week is going to be part 2 of the lore episode, where we're talking about mostly Sherman Ranch this part of the episode. And just like the last one where we forgot to record an outro, we forgot to record an intro for this one, even though, we said it was going to be a 2-part, just completely spaced. So get ready to hear more about the Sherman Ranch. We go into the history of it, and just, some interesting things that have happened there. And stick around to the end because there is something new coming for the podcast. All right, let's dive into the episode.
Just trying to eat my shit.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you sent another TikTok.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that one's just silly dog antics. I don't think it's a thing.
That's right. Lick her arm. That's where she's dirty.
Apologize.
She's gonna protect you. She's gonna protect you from the evil. But only like the first foot of the evil. So the ranch has actually had 3 owners. The current owner is this very wealthy man by the name of Brandon Fugel. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm going to say Fugel. And he bought it in 2016. He was pretty much a skeptic, and he kind of wanted to see for himself if the stuff about the ranch was true.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is it's a large, gorgeous piece of property.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he said really drew him to it, was that it was so beautiful and that it could, maybe prove to him the real existence of paranormal. The owner before him, he's not honestly, he's not super important. He did kind of found this paranormal research thing in response to the ranch. And then the original owner was a man named Terry Sherman. He and his wife were just cattle farmers. They were just people trying to live.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, just picked a terrible property to do that on. So, some of the things that occurred on the property while Terry was there, he was walking his dogs around the farm late at night when he came across a wolf 3 times the size of a normal loop with glowing red eyes and a mean streak. Terry shot the thing with a rifle at close range. So, dire wolves.
Yay!
Also, I don't know if shooting it with a rifle was super smart because that thing could very much take you out, but that's just me. There were cattle mutilations, crop circles, and UFO sightings at least once a week. One of the cattle was found with a hole cut into the center of its left eyeball. Another had its rectum cut out. Then one day, 7 cows disappeared all at once. If it snows, it's hard for a 1,200 to 1,400 pound animal to just walk off without leaving tracks, or to stop and walk backward completely and never miss their tracks. The thing that spooked Terry the most and what made him sell off the property were the voices. Terry Sherman heard voices while walking his dogs and described the sounds spoken in a language he did not understand. They seemed to come with the wind and out of the darkness. It felt as if they were invoking something. So that's something that pretty much everyone that visits the property attests to, is hearing these uh, disembodied voices, usually saying awful things, sometimes in tongues, sometimes in languages they don't understand, but always, it always feels malevolent.
Fun. Has anybody got a recording of that? Has anyone been able to find the language that it's in and get it translated?
I didn't look into that necessarily, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say they've probably attempted that. I did not know this, but there is actually a full ass television program about it. The current owner, Mr. Fugel, was convinced a few years ago to do a television series about it. Well, it's a docu series. It's not a television series, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a documentary series where the entire show is literally them on the property investigating
Mm-hmm.
the things that happen. So I imagine, yes, they've probably tried to do that. Although, who knows if that would even work.
Right.
And I feel like I remember hearing other stories from this man, from Mr. Sherman. I feel like the giant wolf slash dog creature happened to him more than once,
Hmm.
because I feel like I remember him being like he was in the house and they could hear it like prowling outside, and then he had his wife like hide, and then he went outside with a gun, and the creature like took off into like a cornfield or something.
No thanks.
Yeah, like I think the voices thing is honestly what kind of scares me the most,
Hmm.
because that's what leads me to believe that the name of, or the special name that the
Hmm.
ranch has could very much be true.
Hmm.
Because like that definitely seems right up their alley.
Yeah. You want to go? You want to
um, the morbidly curious side of me is like yes,
go?
but then the rational like cautious side of me is like no, we're not going there.
No.
We're not risking that, because people have been known to like take things home with them too, which is also not ideal. And that man isn't the only one that's been known to have like medical issues after leaving that place. Like there have been several people that are like, "Uh-huh, yeah, I had like a stroke. I had full like seizures.
If you're
I
like an
had
if you're an 85-year-old terminal cancer patient, then go.
yes, and let us know what happens. Take all the risks you can. Go right up to him and try to talk to him. Put the microphone up to him. Hey,
Hey, Mr. Sir.
hi, Mr. Man, Mr. Evil Sorcerer Man. Could you tell us what you're here for? There are some quotes from a few different characters here,
Yes.
and I want to let you read them.
Okay. Alright. Whew. So the first one here says people have been exposed to technology from black programs, advanced state-of-the-art, high-energy technologies developed in special access programs, non-lethal weapons programs, holograms, cloaking devices, drones. Dr. Kit Green, AAWSAP. Skinwalker Ranch owner Brandon Fugel, when asked if military is still actively involved at their ranch, I am not at liberty to discuss details regarding various investigations, briefings that are going on at present relative to the ranch, but I can tell you that when certain phenomena are being recorded and being observed or being monitored, how do I say this? What is being witnessed at the ranch has significant national security implications. Whatever this is far more complex than we ever anticipated. Colonel John Alexander. People have been killed. People have been hurt. It's more than observational kind of data. Bigelow.
So all of these quotes are from the actual website for this place, blankranch.com. So if you want to check it out, feel free to go check it out. It'll give you more information. Although I suggest not only looking at their website, but looking into some other things as well, just for a less biased take on things. That freaks me the hell out. Like the idea of some
Like
sort of like, go ahead.
like the federal government being involved.
Yeah, like some sort of like black ops under the table investigation team from the government, like they're investigating this shit or like causing this shit, saying that they've been exposed to this technology. Doesn't that kind of sound like it means that the government is the one doing it too?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're using this as like a smoke screen to do all sorts of like unethical shit?
Yeah.
Like it's massively concerning. To add that stuff on top of all the paranormal shit is really disturbing.
Yeah, don't make it worse.
Yeah, I mean, like the people that have gone missing on the property, that would maybe make sense if this stuff is happening there too.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's like 512 acres. That is a massive stretch of land,
Mm-hmm.
and it is in like it is in Utah, so there are like deserty areas, but there's also like forested areas and stuff in this property too. So like we don't know what the fuck's going on there,
Right.
and it's super.
Yeah, and it could be not paranormal at all if the government is there. It could be all government shit.
I guess the only part about it, which obviously could also be them, faking it, but like the local tribes people,
Right.
like, putting the ceremonial, like, intestines to keep these entities in. That's one of the few things that I'm like, I don't know if they would fake that, like, I don't know if they would go that far,
Well, they might not even fake it. The local
but
tribes people might genuinely think that, like, whatever they're doing could mimic that so much that they genuinely think it's that.
I guess that pops up a lot more questions then. Huh.
It's
That is
weird.
so creepy. There's a super long article written by Christy Porter for the Salt Lake Magazine, and it's called High Strangeness at Blank Ranch. And it's a very, very long, but also very informational article. So if you guys are interested, look it up. Like I said, it's from the Salt Lake Magazine called High Strangeness at Blank Ranch by Christy Porter. So here's this story. The thrum of a propeller precedes the arrival of a black helicopter at Blank Ranch. The ranch's new owner, Brandon Fugel, and his brother are on board. His other brother, Cameron, the pilot, lands the helicopter, disturbing the otherwise quiet scenery with a cloud of dust. Dusk? Dust. Fugel steps out onto the helipad, the one he had built specifically for his regular visits over the last 6 months. He has no reason to suspect that this visit will be any different. They walk the perimeter under a punishing sun, now accustomed to the gruesome sight of animal entrails ceremoniously draped over the fence line. Then, there above the mesa, where there had been only cloudless sky a second before, wide and flat like a saucer and gleaming silver, an object hovers in the air, moving at angles and trajectories that defy logic or explanation. The group of men freeze, staring, transfixed. The disc moves in the blink of an eye, like a bullet unhindered by physics, and vanishes.
What the fuck? That's some alien shit. And he's
I,
a
oh,
skeptic. He wouldn't just go out and say this.
yeah, that's another thing that like leads me to believe like, is he just like being paid off to lie about it? If it truly is like weapons
But like, what does he have to be paid?
research?
He's you said he's incredibly wealthy. What does money have for him?
Yeah, I think he was like a millionaire, or maybe yeah, he was like a millionaire or something before he even bought the property. Because he made his money in real estate, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
What does he they'd have to have paid him an obscene amount of money to lie about it and to consistently lie about it
Hmm.
because he would have had to have been lying about it for 6 years now
Hmm.
because he's been very honest about the fact that he was a skeptic going in
Right.
and now he is a firm and emphatic believer. He even when he was talking about doing the docu-series, which is on its third season, by the way. He said that he wanted to do the series because he wanted the truth to be out there. He wanted people to know that like this stuff is going on,
Right.
that it exists, that it's real, and it really is happening at this property. People need to be aware of it,
Hmm.
which I think it like is pretty decent human being thing of him to do.
Yeah.
Like I just want people like I wish people would listen.
Right. People don't listen. What are you talking about?
So the basin of Northeast Utah that this place is has been home to like hundreds of sightings of UFOs or
Oh my
UAPs. I think they're
god.
technically called now. Like that's the government term UAP,
An
unidentified aerial phenomena.
interesting.
And the alleged center of all this activity is the ranch. Uh, I feel like I cut so much out of this article already. And now that I'm looking through it, I'm like, did I really think I was gonna read all this? I mean, I know I kept some of it in for like context for the rest of it, but anyway. So I'm gonna kind of jump back in time a little bit to the Shermans, say something else about them. So the experiences of the Shermans are what brought Bigelow, which was the owner in between super wealthy guy and the cattle farmers, to the ranch in the first place. When the cattle ranchers first moved in, they were surprised to discover that there were deadbolts on the inside and outside of the doors of the house. Even the windows were bolted. They were also perplexed by a clause in their real estate contract that stipulated that there was to be no digging on the ranch without first notifying the owners. After settling into their new home, the strange experiences witnesses included several cattle mutilations, the appearance of a massive wolf that mangled a calf but disappeared suddenly. They witnessed large black objects hovering above the ranch, orange shapes in the sky that appeared to transport passing objects to another world, and blue orbs that killed 3 of their dogs.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And when the NIDS team, which is the National Institute for Discovery Science, came to arrive and document the Gormans' accounts, they began to have experiences of their own. They talk about seeing moving lights with no source, mysterious destruction of their surveillance cameras. But the bulk of the unexplained phenomena continued to occur around the Shermans, who had bought it from a man named Garth Myers in 1994, and they kind of denied that there was any sort of activity on the property when his family owned it. And he also kind of disputes part of the Sherman story, like the deadbolts and the digging claws. And while they say they didn't experience anything, their neighbors did, which is very confusing. Like, so the Myers' neighbors experienced shit, but they didn't, even though they were the ones living on the property. And then the Shermans bought it from them, and immediately shit started happening. So it's
That like whole real estate contract about no digging is super strange too. Like, what?
I think that is like it's if the land truly is cursed, I think that would have something to do with it of like you don't get to change things without permission, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people say that's what or not a lot of people, but the people documenting the man who had the heart attacks case, they said that's why he did that because he was told not to go onto the property, but he did and he dug to, place a fence post and that's what caused his heart attack.
But if the
Uh,
previous owners are like saying nothing happened, why would that clause be in there? And I guess that's why he's saying that he's disputing the digging clause, but that's really strange.
Yeah, disputing the digging clause and the deadbolt thing. But also, like, what do they get out? That's my biggest thing. What do they get out of lying about it?
Right.
Like, sure, they could be being paid shit tons of money, but like,
They left. They didn't even want to be involved in it. They sold it.
no. I mean, they even used pseudonyms for when they were telling the stories. So, like, what do they have to gain? They were just cattle farmers.
Right.
Like, clearly, it wasn't necessarily about like money. So I don't know. And they left pretty quickly. Like they didn't live there for too long. It was only like a decade, maybe. So I don't know. I don't know what they would get out of lying about it.
Oh yeah, and it's saying that the neighbors did experience stuff, even though
Yeah.
the old guy said that he didn't.
Yes. So on that note, in a 2010 edition of the book The Utah UFO Display, author Frank Salisbury interviewed people whose land actually neighbored the ranch. One neighbor, John Garcia, saw an orange object as large as a house floating above his fence before it shot up into the sky and zoomed away. Another, Charles Wynn, was out one night when he saw a bright light that he compared to an arc welder, white and bright, but not hot. The light came for him, and fearing for his life, he dropped down into a ditch full of water and covered his head with his arms.
My
Others in the
God.
area, yeah, others in the area saw orbs in the sky, blue on the outside and orange at the center, slowly giving off sparks. There is a picture right here.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's actually a photo from the current owner, Brandon Fugel.
And that
Um,
that's very specific that all of them are saying like orange, orange, because that's not something you hear on a regular basis with UFOs. But all of them seem to have like this different from like mainstream but consistent account of what they've seen.
and of them being like massive.
Hmm.
Like you rarely hear about UFOs and hear about them being just massive. Typically they're like, they're just up there. They don't look too big, but like this thing humongous near the ground and then once someone like witnessed it went away.
I don't want to screw with aliens because if they're here, they're
Uh-huh.
much smarter than we are.
Uh-huh. So Salisbury along with a collaborator interviewed witnesses and collected firsthand accounts of these UFO sightings back to the 50s. And they even suggest that these events started long before them, back to when the basin that they're in, the Utah Basin, or Utah, I think that's how you say it. It's
Hmm.
Uintah. Basin was part of the Utah tribes and ancestral hunting grounds before they were, forced onto a reservation to open up the area for the white ranchers. There's not really one explanation that fits all of these different things. Going back to the government thing, like if it was the government, I don't think they'd be putting this much work into making so many different stories because that draws too much attention,
Right.
you know? Like they're not making up all these things all at once because that would just be foolish,
Right.
you know? And then to make a docu series about it, it feels weird.
Like I could see the UFO stuff being them,
Sure,
but then it's kind of,
absolutely.
like, do we have the kind of technology? And if we do, why isn't it being used?
And then if we wanna go off that and say like, "Oh, it was, military testing new technology."
It's been years, years of it,
Yeah. Since have they really been testing this technology since the 50s?
or
And before
before,
that,
right? Before they were even here, right?
people are not that dumb. They're not gonna just believe that it's military testing.
And why would the military be testing on private property?
Wouldn't they just have their own huge parcel of land to work on?
I don't think they're testing. I think they're investigating. They want to know what
Same.
the fuck is going on.
I mean, if his quotes are anything to go off of, yeah, they're fucking investigating. I mean, what was it he said that it was like
A
it
national security risk.
yeah, like what the fuck does that even mean? Is it a portal to a different world? And are whoever's in that world trying to come over here and be like, give me your land,
Or is
give me the country?
are the aliens trying to take it?
Honestly, at this point, let them. No one here is doing a great job. Just
Let's see what they can
let them
do.
take it.
If they've
Like
gotten this far.
if they figured out space travel, I'm sure they could fix this shit. I'm sure they'd be like, okay, you can all have rights again. No more intolerant people. Back to Fugal, because he's basically the central character in all of this. When he first acquired the ranch and he decided that he was going to start like investigating things to really prove to himself whether it was real or not, he put together this big team of like multidisciplinary professionals. And then they did drone surveys, they did soil surveys, seismic record reviews, all for the purpose of trying to figure out if there was like a natural prosaic explanation for what had been happening. Because like there are instances of like electromagnetic anomalies and like gas eruption from in the earth. Like there's certain things that can cause like hallucinations and stuff on a massive level, but nothing would be nothing truly would be able to do this on such a large scale over such a long period of time without being noted.
Hmm.
You know, like it would be known about, like people would be talking about it like we talk about the Bermuda Triangle.
Right.
Like it's really interesting, especially because they've seen stuff in the daytime, in the nighttime, like shit happens all the time.
It's like the
It's
perfect storm of different types of stuff.
exactly.
You got
Like
like ghost
it's a hotbed.
demons, alien.
Fucking direwolf hellhounds,
Bigfoot's probably chilling out there somewhere.
Bigfoot, chupacabra. Like
They have weekly HOA meetings. It's
they're out there just living it up all together.
Santa Claus. Santa Claus is out there too.
Why not? Throw him in there. Elves. They've also reported having equipment malfunction. They've had damage to acute, no, damage to their property, acute medical episodes experienced by a number of participants. And he's quoted as saying, "None of this is a secret. The current ranch investigation is the subject of a documentary series, The Secret of Ranch." And he says he was really hesitant to sign off on the show and he agreed to do it as long as nothing was fabricated or contrived, and that he could use his own team. Now, of course, that could be false. We don't know. It's alleged. And he originally asked to do it anonymously, like he would provide information for the show, but didn't actually want to be a part of the show.
Mhm.
But he felt that in order for it to actually be genuine and authentic, he like actually had to come forward and be honest about the stuff and be honest about the fact that, he was the one experiencing these things.
Right.
He also wanted to remain anonymous to like protect his business ventures because like I said, he was like a real estate mogul.
Mhm.
But like he was up there with the big wigs. And of course, who the fuck wants to be the UFO guy, you know? Like it's weird, I guess, that it takes away credibility, but I get it. It
Yeah.
does to non-believers, it sounds crazy. Like
Right.
I get that. He also said that they should be taking like the study of everything that's happening there way more seriously. Like obviously he's helping fund it, the docuseries network is helping fund it, but they really should be investigating it even more. And he is quoted as saying the US government is studying it. Like they are there because there is a ton of unexplained phenomena that is going to be made public at some point. I mean, it always is. They declassify documents all the time.
A side note, were they supposed to be declassifying Area 51 records? Whatever came of that?
Are they?
I thought so. Let me look it up.
Oh, I'm googling that. Yeah, so the CIA releases entire collection of UFO related documents.
June 25th of 2021. Is that the one you're looking at?
I'm looking at one from January 13th. So yours may actually be more accurate.
I'm actually on the government website of the National Archives, and it's called Project Blue Book: Unidentified Flying Objects.
Oh, I see that.
The United States Air Force retired to the custody of the National Archives its records on Project Blue Book relating the investigation of unidentified flying objects.
Holy cow. The
It was.
project closed in 1969?
Mhm. So it's not the recent ones, it's just through 1969. There's probably another one that they're investigating now, but they closed that project at that point.
I mean, I guess they would have had to because too many people were interested in it.
Right.
They had to shut it down.
But it covers the Roswell incident. Interesting.
I'm gonna have to go and read that.
Mm.
Like, that sounds fascinating. I mean, I'm sure it's not too juicy, but like everyone knows what happened. Like, it's not a secret.
Evidently in 2013 they acknowledged Area 51 for the first time.
Oh. Well, I mean, I love that they acknowledged it as if it wasn't a physical building that you could see. It's fucking Atlantis, apparently.
So our next paranormal episode will probably be on UFOs at this point.
I actually do have a UFO story.
Ooh, do you? We'll have to save that for next week.
And possibly an alien story, actually.
Like you sure have saw an alien?
No.
Oh, that's
No.
unfortunate.
I guess I should say more of an abduction story.
You got abducted by aliens?
I don't want to say yes or no because I don't want to. I people have to listen. People have to listen.
Okay, but you're telling me after this because I need to know now.
Okay.
It's my money and I need it now.
I don't know if it'll be as satisfying as you'll want it to be. So I wanted to talk about some people's, Salisbury, the author's three hypotheses. No, I wanted to talk about Salisbury's three hypotheses for the phenomena that are kind of documented in the basin. And the first one is favored by the UFO debunkers. It's that all the unexplained phenomena can be explained within the physical laws of the universe with enough data collected. The second one he calls the nuts and bolts hypothesis. That theorizes that UFOs are advanced machines traveling through space from civilizations on planets and other solar systems. Aliens. Huh. The third is the Stargate hypothesis. This posits that UFO and other paranormal phenomena represent beings with technology that travel from a nearby parallel universe or an alternate dimension. And they use wormholes to transport from one part of the universe to another. So, aliens. Like, two of them are alien. I love that each explanation is just like, okay, it's either unexplained natural phenomena that we just don't know enough about, aliens.
Aliens, different kinds of aliens.
Literally, like, that's so funny. Oh, that's really funny. And he recognizes that he and the writers for the documentary Hunt for the like come basically to the same conclusion. If there are any portals or wormholes between alternate realities, all consistent with natural laws that we just don't yet understand, it would explain a lot of the outlandish going that so many have witnessed. He also flirts with the possibility that it could be some sort of like spiritual explanation. He doesn't really go into that in this article, apparently, but I don't really know what that would mean. What would the spiritual explanation be?
I mean, maybe like the land was stolen, and they said that when medicine men turn dark, that stuff can happen from it. So maybe like the stealing of the ancestral hunting lands could have like released some sort of
First.
energy.
Okay, yeah, n- literally, that's exactly what it could be. I mean, but which is funny because that literally just ties right back into what. Oh my god, this guy. This Salisbury guy is real funny. He gives me a good giggle. Something else from Fugel. He hinted that further expansion of the investigation would include human consciousness studies. He described the phenomena as being precognitive, sentient, non human intelligence. It can anticipate and even be aware of your thoughts and consciousness and react according to the intention that brought you to the property. This supposed entity, or perhaps entities, has remained evasive in revealing its nature or intentions to his team. He believes they're observing a diversity of origins and agendas and suggests that there are malevolent, benevolent, and benign forces at work. He also thinks that Skinwalker, oh my god, the ranch holds the answers to much more than to just what is happening on the property itself. If we can approach it as sort of a living laboratory to prove that we're not alone in the universe, whether that means we're interacting with extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or uh, paranormal entities, it's extremely compelling. And he believes that it could be pretty much all of the above.
Or
Like
combination.
yeah, he believes that it has to be a combination of everything because there's not a single sect of that subset that would make sense. Like it couldn't just be aliens, it couldn't just be like dark entities, it just can't be one thing. You know,
Right.
too much happens, too much like too much variety of shit
Right.
happens for it to just be one thing.
But there's definitely something that's drawing all of that to that spot.
Did I talked earlier about like the ley line
Yeah,
thing and the
potentially being a ley
okay,
line, yeah.
yeah. I'm I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I feel like it has to be some sort of energy pit,
Yeah.
I guess. Because otherwise, why would you have all that stuff there?
Right.
Like, there's nowhere else in the world where you can say, well, maybe not nowhere else, but there's very few places in the world that can say that they have ghosts and hellhounds and aliens and Navajo evil legends.
We got it all. It's your supernatural supermarket.
Oh, I love that. Supernatural supermarket. Oh, that's going on merch. I cannot believe I said it again. I'm so mad at myself. I like the idea of being able to go to a place like this,
But it's also
but I think
terrifying.
yeah. I feel like I would like go to the edge of the property, but not go on it, you know? Like
I'm just gonna sit. I'm gonna camp out outside the fence and see if I see any UFOs.
mhm. See if I see any UFOs, see if I see any, creatures on all fours trying to talk to me, uh, which I will just simply pass away. It gives me like chills. It gives me chills. So what are your closing thoughts on this whole section, this two-part episode?
um, I want to know what's going on, but I guess that's the nature of the paranormal is
Mm,
you never really know exactly what's going on. So
uh,
I guess we'll have to keep looking.
yeah, they y'all better be releasing these documents. I think I'm gonna go watch this show now. I'm surprised I didn't know it existed before today, but I also, I don't often seek out information on that specific creature. So,
I'm gonna go join the military so I can rank up and be like involved in it. And then I'll leak everything to you and I'll go to like federal prison and probably be executed and waterboarded, but it'll be okay because at least we know what happened.
oh, I was about to say they're not gonna send you to jail. They're just gonna kill you. Like you're they'll find out and they'll just put you on the ranch alone in the middle of the night.
We don't know what happened to her.
We we have no idea how she got out there. We don't know what happened. There were scorch marks where she was. Your body just shows up like 3 months later. Or not even a body, just like a skull.
Like over in like freaking India. My skull just shows up. I was trying to think of a country that was far away, and I came up with India.
You just pop up across the world. Closing thoughts from me. It's out there. Everything is out there, and you need to be aware of it and be scared of the things you're supposed to be scared of. And to the people on TikTok talking about these creatures, stop saying their fucking names. You're not supposed to. And if you do even a cursory search of Google, that would tell you that. And I'm sure a lot of indigenous people are real pissed with y'all for saying it. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, I want to go through the
So,
comments now.
I imagine there's some indigenous people popping off in there. Like, oh gosh. Okay, all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Yes, this was a two-part episode. There was just so much to talk about Sherman Ranch that it had to be a whole two things.
Yeah, we were
Uh,
we were going for one, but halfway through we decided that that wasn't going to happen. So,
yeah. It had to be two. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Follow us on whatever platform you're listening or watching us on. Go follow us on Instagram, TikTok. And here's the thing I wanted to talk to you about at the end of the episode. How would you feel about like maybe taking viewers' stories? Like
ooh,
letting people submit their own like spooky stories, whether that be
ooh,
ghost, demon, cryptid, alien, whatever it be,
yes, that would be fun.
and telling them on
Yes,
air.
once a month we'll have viewer story time.
I would love that. So if you're listening, I'm gonna set up a special email that you can send your stories into. And yes, I'm aware we are a very small podcast right now, but we still want to hear your stories, even if you're one of the 40 people listening to us right now. Send us your stories. So many of us have stories, and we will believe you.
Yes,
We are firm believers in all of this, and we will not call you a liar. We will not call you a faker. We will believe you.
right. Just don't send us if it is fake, because
Yeah, please don't send us fake stories. That's not nice.
no.
Don't be a butthole. Thank y'all so much for listening, and we hope you have a good day/week/weekend, whatever you're listening to this on. All right.
Bye.
Bye.